Hi, I'm Benji Hardy. I've got your Arkansas news for Thursday, August 13th. I'll start off with a self-serving plug for our cover story in this week's Arkansas Times, written by David Ramsey, Leslie Peacock, and myself. It's a roundup of the news that we've been reporting on regarding the Arkansas Medicaid verification mess. Our story explores the ins and outs of the problems within the Department of Human Services eligibility verification system for Medicaid beneficiaries in the state. Problems with that process have left tens of thousands of Arkansans without insurance. One of the things that we report on is that not all of those folks who were kicked off were actually ineligible. The verification system flagged many people who we know are definitely eligible because anyone with zero income was flagged by that system as needing to provide additional information to the state. But the original letter that DHS sent to those beneficiaries wasn't particularly clear about what information was required. Many people that received the letter said that they weren't clear what to do, and most importantly, the state only gave a 10-day window for people to respond, thus leading to a lot of people being kicked off for failure to respond when in actuality their situations are maybe a lot more complex than that. When you take a close look at the numbers that we cite, it seems likely that many, maybe even most, of the people who have been kicked off their insurance thus far are actually still eligible. Today, David Ramsey also reports for us that Legal Aid of Arkansas issued a press release announcing that they will be offering free legal help to any beneficiaries who have lost coverage and are continuing to struggle to navigate the sometimes confusing system to get re-enrolled, to get their coverage reinstated. Moving on to follow up an item that we mentioned yesterday, Representative Justin Harris did not receive an award last night from the Arkansas Family Council as originally planned. The conservative group, the Family Council, had planned to honor Harris and another state legislator at a Republican Party event in Van Buren, at which the keynote speaker was Texas Senator Ted Cruz, the presidential hopeful. Family Council President Jerry Cox told me yesterday that his group will still present Harris with the award, but at a later date and venue of the legislator's choosing. Now, Cox said that the Republican Party in Crawford County asked him not to present the award at their event, and he deferred to their wishes since they were guests at the event. But we've also heard rumors that the Cruz campaign may have been behind that decision, asking the Republican Party of Crawford County to hold off on presenting the award. After all, the story generated a fair amount of unwanted attention yesterday after it went out. Yesterday evening, Reuters reported that Arkansas Attorney General Leslie Rutledge had acknowledged that the state now has a supply of drugs on hand at the ready for use in lethal injections. Arkansas has not executed a prisoner since 2005, in part because of limited access to execution drugs, although there are 35 men currently on death row in the state. Among the drugs purchased by Arkansas is a controversial sedative that the U.S. Supreme Court effectively cleared for continued use in executions earlier this year. That drug was used in a botched execution in Oklahoma in 2014, after which 3 men on Oklahoma death row sued the state of Oklahoma to prevent its continued use of the drug. But the U.S. Supreme Court ruled against the inmates this June in a contentious 5-4 decision, thus allowing continued use of the sedative. However, it's not entirely clear whether executions can actually now proceed in Arkansas. There's still some legal questions to be resolved in that regard. A KKK group in Harrison has offered to pay to remove the remains of Confederate General Nathan Bedford Forrests from a Memphis park to property that the group owns in Boone County, Arkansas. A leader with the group says that they want to remove the remains of Forrest, his wife Mary Ann, and a large bronze statue of the general mounted on horseback to the group's, quote, Christian Revival Center near Harrison. Forrest served as the first Grand Wizard of the Klan after the Civil War, thus the interest. It wouldn't be the first time that the general's remains have been moved. Back in 1904, Forrest and his wife were exhumed from Memphis's Elmwood Cemetery and reburied in the park where they now reside, which was then named Forest Park in his honor. But about a century later, in 2013, the park was renamed as the city of Memphis decided to rid itself of some of this Confederate symbolism. And just last month, the Memphis City Council voted unanimously to exhume the remains of Forrest and return them back to Elmwood Cemetery. So now the Arkansas KKK wants to get their hands on Forrest. Finally, as Max reported earlier this month, the Arkansas Supreme Court Chief Justice Jim Hanna will be retiring early due to health issues. His resignation will be effective at the end of August 31st. In a statement, Hanna thanked his wife and his staff and said, quote, "I want to thank the people of Arkansas who placed their trust and confidence in me and allowed me to serve them on the Arkansas Supreme Court." That's all we got today. We'll be back tomorrow with more headlines.